Glad to have you back. We sincerely apologize for the technical glitch. And now to the news stories. First in the news this afternoon is a report that the Federal Ministry of Health has convened a special National Council on Health meeting where all state commissioners of health and other stakeholders in the health sector will review the gains and lessons learned from COVID-19 management towards building a more resilient health sector in Nigeria. At the opening of a two-day March meeting in Abuja, the Minister for Health, Dr. Osagie Ihinere, said the Nigerians must remain alert in the new COVID-19 variant of the virus, which are more contagious and virulent. New waves of infections. Recall that the 2014 National Health Act recognizes the NCM as the highest policy-making body within the Nigerian health sector. In the meantime, Minister of Health said the federal government was currently pushing for a law on a mandatory health insurance scheme in Nigeria as part of reforms, as well as re-evolutionizing the funding in the sector. Ihinere, who stated this in his address at a special session of the National Council on Health (NCH) meeting held in Abuja, said the government was implementing an innovative digital health technology reforms and building a network of national primary health care centers across the country to take healthcare delivery services to the grassroots. According to him, models of the new primary health care centers designed had been sent to all state governors, adding that each primary health care facility would have staff quarters, a short water supply, solar-powered aggregates, and a sound complement of human resource for health. With regards to the advent of the new COVID-19 variant, Omicron, Ihinere said the country must have to strengthen its health security architecture to ensure that it was prepared at all times to detect and respond in the interest of the health of the populace. To the Green Chambers now, where the Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila has reiterated the determination of the House of Representatives to support the development of education in Nigeria. Receiving the second Kudu of Benin Kudu, Jigawa State, Garba Jabrin, in his office, Gbajabiamila said education ranked topmost on the legislative agenda of the 9th House of Representatives because it remained the foundation of development in any society. He said the lawmakers believed in education as the foundation of civilization and development, informing their decision to work hard to get tertiary institutions to their locality. Still in legislative matters, the House of Representatives has ordered immediate investigation into debts totaling 2.6 trillion naira allegedly owed to the federal government by oil and gas companies operating in the country. A report by the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative contains the figure, which is said to be accruals from failure of the firms to remit petroleum profit tax, company income, education tax, value-added tax, withholding tax, royalties, penalties, and concessions and rentals to the federal government. The House, which was presided over by the Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila, raised an ad hoc committee to investigate the matter after the lawmaker representing Lere Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, Ahmed Munia, brought it up through a motion on notice. In the meantime, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, says to triumph over the challenges facing Nigeria, citizens should overcome their differences in politics, religion, tribe, and ethnicity. Gbajabiamila was speaking at the two-day national conference on information organized by the House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics, and Values, chaired by Representative Dokun. He observed that as technology and new media democratize public debate to benefit citizens and nations, it has also created the ideal conditions for bad actors to spread misinformation and manipulate people in ways that threaten societies. The speaker identified information management as one of the ways to overcome Nigeria's security challenges. In another development, Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila has expressed optimism about the inherent gains in the Nigerian-South Korean Parliamentary Friendship Group. Gbajabiamila stated this while receiving the South Korean ambassador to Nigeria, Ambassador Kim Yong-chi, who led the Korean delegation on a courtesy visit to his office in Abuja. On financial crimes, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC yesterday rearranged former Governor of Ekiti State Ayodele Fayose and his company before Federal High Court in Lagos. Fayose and his company were rearranged before Jechu Aneke for alleged money laundering and non-declaration of his assets. In the amendment charge, Fayose and one Abiodun Agbele, who is also standing trial on alleged money laundering offenses before another division of the court, were alleged to have on June 17, 2014 taken possession of 1.219 billion naira to fund Fayose's 2014 gubernatorial campaign in Ekiti State. They were accused of committing criminal breach of trust, theft, and stealing of public funds. They were also alleged to have, on the same June 17, 2014, without going through financial institutions, received $5 million from Senator Muzilu Obanikoro, who was the Minister of State for Defense. Away from that, as Nigeria joins the rest of the world today to mark the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, the about 31 million community of persons living with disabilities in the country have called on government at all levels to quit paying lip service to their plight and match words with actions by implementing the various domestic laws and international conventions to protect them. In a statement to mark the day, Executive Director, Center for Citizens with Disabilities, David Ayele, observed that this year's event is the third commemoration of the day since the passage and assent by President Muhammadu Buhari of the Disability Rights Act that is designed to protect the more than 31 million citizens with disabilities. He expressed worry that 36 months after the passage of the Disability Rights Act, only 13 states have demonstrated measures to adopt the act. Ayale therefore called on the yet to adopt the National Disability Rights Act to do so without further delay, stressing that failure to adopt the act will be an indirect endorsement of discrimination and other harmful practices against citizens with disabilities. The CCD boss further urged the president to assent to the Electoral Act as it contains new provisions to address the disenfranchisement of persons living with disability in the conduct of elections. In a separate development, Imo State Police says 35-year-old Pastor Izuchukwu Anolo Oba has been arrested for kidnapping Father Fidelis Ekemba, a Catholic priest in Imo State. The pastor, while confessing to the crime, said he got 1.5 million naira as a share from the kidnap. According to reports, the State Commissioner of Police, Rabiu Hazani, while parading the suspect, disclosed that the victim was in his captivity until a 5 million naira ransom was paid. Describing himself as a disgrace to the body of Christ, Anoloba begged for forgiveness. The police said the victim is a priest in charge of St. Peter's Catholic Parish in Umuohu, Amokaohia in the Ihite, Oboma local government area of the state. Back here, members of the Akwa Ibom State delegation to the Maritime Sector and Harbour Development Program in South Korea have made a presentation of Ibom Deep Seaport and Ibom Industrial City to the management of Boshan Port Authority. The delegation, led by the chairperson of the Technical Committee for the Realization of Ibom Deep Seaport, Fund Usora, Dr. Emmanuel Ekuwem, who is also the Secretary to the State Government, and Akanakon, Commissioner for Economic Development and Ibom Deep Seaport, made the presentation to the management of the Boston Port Authority. The delegation was led by the Vice President, Global Division and Head of Overseas Business Department, Koja Rim Lesijing, Associate Manager, Overseas Business Department, and STVNg, Deputy Manager, Overseas Business Department. Meanwhile, the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly has passed the 2022 appropriation bill into law. Recall that Governor Dumi Manuel had on October 25, 2021 proposed a total budget outlay of 582.115 billion naira for the 2022 financial year before the 7th Assembly. The bill was referred to the House Committee on Finance and Appropriation for further legislative actions. Presenting the committee's report at plenary, the chairman of the committee, Udwa Ododo, charged the House to pass a total revised budget outlay of the 583.881 billion naira, made up of 261.963 billion naira for recurrent expenditure and 324.918 billion naira for capital expenditure, amounting to an increase of 4.766 billion naira of the initial budget size. The House, after dissolving into the Committee of Supply, considered the recommendations of the Appropriations Committee and approved an increase in the recurrent expenditure by 1.813 billion naira, an increase in the capital expenditure by 2.956 billion naira, and an overall increase in the 2022 budget estimates by 4.766 billion naira. In Africa, Sudan's military leader, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has called on the United Nations to support the transitional government. General Burhan, who spoke when he met the UN Special Representative to the country, Volker Perthes, said that despite welcoming the deal for a return to constitutional order, other critical steps need to follow, adding that he will cooperate with reinstated civilian Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok and support the transitional government he forms until the elections are done. On the third scene, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has warned that Europe could be returning to what he called the nightmare of military confrontation. Speaking on a European Security Conference in Sweden, Lavrov flouted the idea of a new European Security Pact to try to stop NATO from expanding further east. This comes as U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken warned of serious consequences if Russia sought conflicts with Ukraine. The meeting comes as Russia boosts its military near Ukraine's border. And still on the foreign scene, United States President Joe Biden has unveiled stricter COVID-19 travel rules as the U.S. confirmed a handful of cases of the Omicron variant from coast to coast from next week. International travelers to the U.S., including Americans, are expected to get a COVID test in the 24 hours before they depart, regardless of vaccination status. The rules also noted that mass recruitment on planes, trains, and buses will be extended until mid-March. Millions of free and insurer-funded home tests will also be made available. And still to come in the news, Carrick leaves Manchester United as caretaker spell ends. Stay with us. Thanks for staying tuned. On our business news, OPEC has set to increase output in January despite Omicron jitters. OPEC, an alliance led by Saudi Arabia and Russia, is resisting US-led pressure to significantly boost output to rein in surging energy prices. Report says major oil producers have decided to keep raising output levels in January despite the Omicron coronavirus variant raising fresh questions over demand. 47 more persons, country's total cases to 214,317. 16 of the new cases are confirmed in Plateaus, 8 each in the FCT and Rivers, 4 in Gombe and Kaduna State, 3 each in Edo and Kano, as well as 1 in Bauchi State. So far, 207,357 persons have been discharged, while 2,978 have died from the virus. In sport, Michael Carrick has stepped down as Manchester United first-team coach and will leave the club following the conclusion of his spell as caretaker manager. The 49-year-old decision to walk away ahead of interim boss Ralph Rangnick's arrival was announced minutes after he took charge of last night's 3-2 Premier League victory over Arsenal at Old Trafford. Carrick, who played 464 games for United between 2006 and 2018 and won 5 Premier League titles, the FA Cup, 2 League Cups, the Champions League and the Europa League, and the Club World Cup, served on the staff under both Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. On our entertainment news, pop star Ed Sheeran and Sir Elton John have unveiled the song they hope will give them a hit this Christmas year. The bittersweet track titled Merry Christmas, complete with the Sling Bells, Ding Dong and Crystal Choirs, it is one of the 3 songs the stars wrote after Sir Elton pitched the idea last Christmas. However, the duo are reportedly faced with stiff competition in the charts from Adele and Lat Baby. And that's all we have for you at this time. Be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTv.ng. You've been watching Spectrum News at 2. I am Francis Edet saying enjoy the rest of your day. Around university students and then spread quickly among young people